20 years ago, I hacked the legendary Godzilla R32 GTR with this all-wheel drive torque split controller. Let me show you exactly what I did and how you can do it too. For those of you new to the channel, I'm Anton, a power engineer, industrial mechanic, and a Red Seal electrician. We cover all kinds of products and topics in an approachable way for the average everyday person. I'm glad you found us. Hello and welcome back to Gears and Tech. Up here in Canada, we have what's known as the 15-year importation rule. That means we've been able to get the R32, R33, and R34 Skylines a lot quicker than some of the other countries out there. So we've had the legendary R32 GTR ever since 2004. And after owning a few Skylines myself, I started to come across very complicated all-wheel drive torque split controllers, and I really got curious. What exactly makes these things tick? And that's where my journey to understand the all-wheel drive system really started to take shape. Now here we are 20 years later, those all-wheel drive torque split controllers are still around and they seem more complicated than ever. But I know that the hack that I did wasn't complicated at all. So I want to show you guys exactly what I did to hack that all-wheel drive controller, and you're going to have all of the skills needed to understand exactly what we're doing so it makes sense from a technical standpoint and nobody's going to hurt themselves. Now before we can understand how the hack works, we need to understand how the all-wheel drive system works in the first place. Attessa is the name for the all-wheel drive system used in the R32, R33, and R34. There's actually a version of the Attessa all-wheel drive system in most of the all-wheel drive Nissan vehicles, including a lot that were sold in North America, such as the G35X, the M35X, the G37X, the M37X, and a lot of others. So the information that's being shared in this video is actually applicable to pretty much any all-wheel drive system that has one key component. We will cover that one key component shortly because that was our entry point for this top secret hack. Now the Attessa all-wheel drive system comprises of a wet hydraulically actuated clutch system that can split torque up to a full 50-50 front-rear split. In the OEM application, it utilizes a combination of parameters from various sensors to decide whether or not to apply drive power to the front wheels to assist with traction. In normal, everyday driving, the Attessa system is actually a rear-wheel drive system. This is actually a critical clue for why so many people enjoy driving their Skylines, because it creates a rear-wheel bias. It's rear wheel all the time until you get into trouble, and then up to 50% of that power gets diverted up to the front wheels to help bail you out of that trouble you got yourself into. With that heavy rear wheel bias, it actually allows the back end of the car to step out when you're cornering hard and getting on the throttle a little bit early, so that you kind of feel like you're like a drifting god or some sort of driving legend. But just as you start to get to the edge of control, the all-wheel drive kicks in and it keeps you from getting into a lot of trouble that you otherwise wouldn't be able to do if you were in a true rear-wheel drive system. Now the real secret is knowing that under all that complex electronic logic, the Attessa system has a single, easily hackable weakness. And that is a wire that carries G-force data, which it uses to decide the exact right amount of all-wheel drive to send to those front wheels. We can intercept it, we can control it, and we can build our own manual torque split controller to give the all-wheel drive level that we want without relying on that G sensor at all. And we can control it using our homemade manual torque split controller, which simulates the signal from that G sensor to put all of the power into our hands through this tiny little box. So first let's recap. The Attessa all-wheel drive system is rear-wheel drive, but when it sends up to 50% power up to the front, that makes a 50-50 torque split, which is more similar to what you'd find in a Subaru or your early Mitsubishi Evo vehicle. And the magic happens inside the transfer case, specifically with a wet hydraulically actuated clutch pack. It's like a tiny, powerful hydraulic press. The car's brain, the Attessa ECU, decides how much pressure to apply to that clutch pack, which engages the front drive shaft. Now this pressure is controlled by two main components, a constant running pump motor and a pulse width modulation solenoid. The solenoid is the real gatekeeper, and the Attessa ECU sends a varying frequency signal to this solenoid, which regulates the flow of hydraulic fluid, determining the all-wheel drive levels. So how does the ECU decide to open the gate or when to leave it shut? First off, it looks at a dozen different inputs. But on older Skylines, especially that R32 that I had, it relies heavily on the information coming from that single G sensor, which is found in between the driver and passenger seat in that center console. Now, many of you are probably familiar with a G sensor because you've seen it on a Nintendo Wii controller, where if you move it forward and backwards and side, it had a very similar concept. A simple G sensor that just measured if the controller was accelerating, decelerating, rock and rolling, anything like that. And your Nissan is no different. It's got that mini Wii controller in there, and it's easy to spot. It's a box that has 3 wires coming out of it, and that is going to be the target for our hack. Now, in the real world, it was very, very simple. The more aggressive your acceleration, the G sensor would measure the lateral forces, throwing the weight to the back of the car. It would recognize that you're being a little bit too aggressive. It would provide power to the front wheels to allow it to accelerate with maximum grip and little tire spin. Now, there's really only 2 scenarios where the all-wheel drive kicks in, and I'm going to simplify this right down. Some of you who are GTR experts, and you probably know more than I do, are going to say, well, Anton, that's not true. In this scenario, it uses the throttle input, and it uses this. We're going to simplify this because I'm not hacking the throttle input. I'm simply hacking those G sensors. So under hard acceleration, it sees a lot of G-force sliding to the back, and it will automatically throw power to the front wheels. The other scenario is going to be in a hard corner. When the car sees you cornering really hard, it will actually hold off on putting the all-wheel drive power out until it starts to see the acceleration again, and then it will throw up to 50% power to the front wheels. The rest of the time, the car is actually always rear-wheel drive. So it's coming and going as it needs to, but it's mostly in rear-wheel drive mode, and it only really goes to all-wheel drive under hard acceleration or hard cornering mixed with hard acceleration. The best way to bail yourself out of trouble when you're going into a corner in an all-wheel drive Nissan is to actually step on the gas pedal to increase the G-forces going behind you, which will kick the all-wheel drive in. If you just hit the brakes, you actually just lose all of your drive and you're going to hit that curb. And this is where the hack gets deliciously simple. You see, that G sensor sends an analog signal from the sensor to the Attessa ECU. Once you know what the signal is, it gets really easy to replicate it. The OEM G sensor is designed to output a voltage that directly correlates to the longitudinal G-force. When you're sitting still, it's at a minimum. When you're at full acceleration, it's at its maximum. Now here's the technical sweet spot. 0 is actually 0.4 volts DC. That is no G-forces at all sitting still at a red light. But when you go to full throttle and that car is accelerating at maximum acceleration, that G sensor will ramp up to 4.5 volts DC. That swing of about 4 volts is exactly what we want to try to replicate using our simple electronics components. And this is where those expensive torque split controllers overly complicate the process. The Attessa ECU is smart enough on its own. We don't need to hack all of the signals. We just need to hack the primary signal, that main G sensor. And as neat as those expensive guys are, we don't actually need a full PhD to be able to build our own at home, as long as we know the voltage swings that we're looking for, which now you guys know because I kind of let that slip already. So the fun part of the hack is simply cutting the signal from the G sensor and inputting our own signal. Now, that's a little bit of a crude way to do it, but I'm going to walk you through exactly how to do it easily, and then we can make it as complex as we want it to, because my split controller actually has a 3-position switch and a dial and a multicolored LED. I will show you the actual diagram of what I did to set that up, but first we need to cover just the basics. At the base level, really, we're trying to take the 8-volt signal from the G sensor, and we're going to use a potentiometer combined with a voltage divider circuit, which basically turns this knob into a 0.4 volt to 4.5 volt swing. And that's it. If you don't want the ability to turn it on and off, you don't want to have the original all-wheel drive options on there, you can just have a dial on your dash that you just turn up or down as needed. So I know you're saying enough already, show us the goods. Well, here it is. At the most basic form, you're going to need 3 main components. We need to use a 10K ohm adjustable potentiometer. So that's this dial here. Now this is a single turn dial. You do not want a multi-turn dial. So if I turn it all the way this way, it stops. If I turn it this way, it'll turn until it stops. So it shouldn't do more than one full rotation, 360 degrees. If it does, you've got the wrong one. We don't need the switch. We don't need the LEDs in here. This is the most basic component. We're gonna need a single 8.7K ohm resistor and a single 1.25K ohm resistor. And that is really it. You're gonna need some bits of wire and stuff like that, but you don't even need the project box. You see, this is so simple. You could actually just throw all the bits in the middle compartment and manually wire this dial up onto your dash somewhere. So it just looked like a volume dial sticking out on your dash. And that's it. You have an all-wheel drive torque split controller installed in your car. Now, if you do want to see how exactly we built this one and get a little bit more details about the build, I actually have a different video where we walk through the exact build. So if you're watching this, you're like, yeah, I like that, but I still don't know what I'm doing. I walk you through the exact build to make one of these in that other video, showing you how to use all these components that we have right here. So that's the video for you if you're having trouble following along with what we've just covered right here. Now that we've built our torque split controller, the control is really simple. Turn the dial all the way down, we have close to a rear-wheel drive vehicle. It's not actually true rear-wheel drive. It'll give you about 10% torque to the front wheels, and depending on the model you have, it could be a little bit more, a little bit less, because you don't actually get full rear-wheel drive with this setup. Now I know those expensive ones do have rear-wheel drive mode, and with this switch here, I actually achieve rear-wheel drive mode, factory mode, and adjusted torque split controller mode. That's why we have the 3-position switch. If you want to see how to build it with that 3-position switch, you got to check that other video where I show you the exact wiring diagram and everything. By bypassing that factory OEM G sensor, we can run the car when we turn it all the way up. That outputs 4.5 volts to the Attessa ECU, and it gives us a locked 50-50 all-wheel drive split all the time, effectively making your Skyline a Subaru, but a little bit more reliable. And I gotta say, having run my torque split controller in 50-50 mode all winter, it is a blast to drive in the winter in that mode. It's a lot more locked. So all of the excitement you get when the back end comes out, that's fun. But sometimes you do want to just be able to drive where you're going without all the drama. And that's where a 50-50 lock comes in very handy. Now the beauty of this hack is the simplicity. There's no special coding required. We're simply wiring up a few resistors and you have full control at your fingertips. Now if you've come this far and you're wondering, okay, well I wish you'd show how to hook it up. Well, I'll show you exactly how to do that now. Underneath your center console, you're going to find 2 separate wiring connectors. One of them has only 3 wires coming from it. If you found the right one, you should have a blue and yellow wire, you should have an orange and blue wire, and you should have a white and blue wire. The white and blue is going to be your 8-volt reference. The orange and blue is going to be your ground wire, and the blue and yellow wire you're going to cut off so that we can insert our hacked output into the Attessa ECU. Obviously the one going into that little box right there, you're gonna leave that empty, nothing's gonna go to that. The wire going the other way, that's the one where we inject our 4 to 4.5 volt output. And that's pretty much it. Now, one question you're gonna have is the 50-50 split safe? Yes, the car regularly goes into 50-50 mode anyway, so we're not using it in a way that it wasn't designed to do. Because of those clutch packs, they're actually gonna be locked up, which provides the 50-50 split, so it's actually less wear and tear on that part of your all-wheel drive system. If you're in good mechanical condition, it will run like this without any issues at all. So there you have it, a complete Attessa all-wheel drive torque split controller for less than $50. If you are interested in that, I'll put links in the description to the base components that we used to build our system. And if you're looking for the full-on extreme system, I'll show you what all these components are in the other video. So be sure to check that out. Let me know if you have any questions. I mean, this is not new tech now. In fact, all of this information I made available 20 years ago on a lot of the GTR forums when I actually developed this in the first place. So if some of you guys are saying, you know, I've seen these drawings before, I've seen this information before, it probably came from me in the first place because at the time, not a lot of people were sharing this information. They were building their torque split controllers and not telling anyone how they worked. I just blew the lid off of all of that, and I'm happy to do it again like I just did. Hey, thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video. We hope you enjoy the content in this video, and we'd love to have you come back. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And for those subscribers who are looking for that extra special thing that you can do to support this channel, consider joining our members group. That's where we're building this community, the Gears and Tech community, where we can all enjoy content together. You'll get special perks, which we'd love for you to check out by clicking the link down below. For those of you who are just happy to watch the video, that's okay too. You can check out some of our other content right over here, where we've got some previous videos that have already been uploaded and enjoyed by many of our viewers already. We do hope to see you again. This has been Gears and Tech. Have a great day.